Ever wonder what gems you missed from the King's most iconic TV moment? Did you know Elvis Presley's 1968 comeback special contained musical treasures that rarely get the spotlight? Number 15. Tiger Man. Remember that raw, primal energy that made Elvis a legend. Tiger Man embodied everything fans had been missing during his Hollywood years. When Elvis launched into this rockabilly number during the informal jam sessions of the special, it wasn't just another performance, it was a declaration. Wearing that famous black leather outfit, sweating under the hot studio lights, Elvis attacked Tiger Man with a ferocity that reminded America why they fell in love with him in the first place. The song wasn't even planned as part of the main set list, emerging organically during the intimate sit-down sessions with his original bandmates, Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana. This spontaneous quality made it electric. Though relegated to the cutting room floor for the original broadcast, Tiger Man later appeared in expanded editions and became a fan favorite. Elvis himself seemed possessed during the performance, channeling the dangerous, rebellious spirit that had scandalized parents a decade earlier. His vocals growled and soared, proving that despite years of formulaic movie soundtracks, the king of rock and roll could still summon the untamed energy that made him a cultural revolutionary. Number 14. Memories. Did anyone expect a tender ballad would become one of the special's most poignant moments? Memories offered viewers a glimpse of Elvis's vulnerability during the 1968 comeback special, showing a contemplative side to the leather-clad rocker. Written specifically for the special by Billy Strange and Mac Davis, this song gave Elvis a chance to showcase his remarkable vocal control and emotional depth. Standing alone in a simple white suit against a black background, Elvis delivered the wistful lyrics with a maturity that reflected his journey from teenage rebel to 33-year-old man. Looking back on his life, the simplicity of the staging, just Elvis the microphone, and minimal backing, highlighted the purity of his voice, reminding audiences that beneath the gyrations and energy was a truly gifted vocalist. Though overshadowed by the more dynamic performances from the special, Memories represented an important transition point in Elvis's career, bridging his rock and roll roots with his later, more adult contemporary sound. The song reached pound 35 on the pillared Hot 100 charts, modest by Elvis's standards, but its legacy as part of the comeback special has given it a special place in his catalog. When fans today watch Elvis perform Memories, they're witnessing a man reconnecting with his authentic artistry after years of Hollywood constraints. Number 13. Where could I go but to the Lord? Can a gospel song steal the spotlight in a rock and roll comeback? When Elvis sang, "Where could I go but to the Lord?" during the 1968 special, he reminded everyone of his deep spiritual roots. The song represented Elvis's lifelong connection to gospel music, a genre he genuinely loved and respected from childhood. During a special segment dedicated to his gospel influences, Elvis performed this traditional hymn with a reverence that contrasted sharply with his rebellious rock persona. The comeback special's director, Steve Binder, initially faced resistance from producer Bob Finkel about including gospel numbers, but Elvis insisted. This determination revealed how important spiritual music remained to him despite his worldly image. Surrounded by backing vocalists and bathed in respectful lighting, Elvis transformed the TV studio into something resembling a country church. His voice carried the emotional weight of genuine belief, connecting with audiences on a deeply personal level. Though the gospel segment wasn't the flashiest part of the special, It provided crucial context for understanding Elvis as an artist shaped by Southern musical traditions. Many casual fans don't realize that Elvis's only Grammy Awards during his lifetime came from his gospel recordings, not his pop hits. By including "Where Could I Go But to the Lord" in his career-defining television moment, Elvis honored the musical foundation that grounded him throughout his turbulent life and career. Number 12. Lawdy, Miss Clawdy. Ever heard Elvis transform an R&B classic into a personal statement? During the informal jam sessions of the comeback special, Elvis revisited Loy Price's 1952 hit, Lawdy, Miss Clawdy, with an intensity that suggested he wasn't just performing a cover, he was reclaiming his place in rock and roll history. Seated in a circle with Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, Elvis approached the song with a loose, improvised feel that captivated the small studio audience. His voice cracked with emotion at certain moments, revealing a rawness rarely heard in his polished movie recordings. The song choice itself was significant, representing the black rhythm and blues that had profoundly influenced young Elvis in Memphis. By performing it in 1968, Elvis was acknowledging his musical roots while demonstrating his continued ability to interpret the genre with authenticity. This performance featured some of Elvis's most engaging stage banter as he joked with his bandmates between verses, creating an intimate atmosphere that contrasted with his larger, more choreographed numbers. Though Lawdy, Miss Clawdy didn't make the final broadcast cut, it circulated among fans through subsequent releases and bootleg recordings, becoming a favorite for its unfiltered quality. Music historians often point to this performance as evidence that Elvis still possessed a genuine connection to the revolutionary music that first made him famous, despite years of commercial compromises. The informality of the setting allowed Elvis to display his natural musicality, responding to the rhythm with instinctive movements that reminded viewers of the organic performer beneath the Hollywood veneer. Number 11. Baby, What You Want Me to Do. Did you know a simple blues jam became one of the most authentic moments of Elvis's career renaissance? When Elvis and his bandmates launched into Jimmy Reed's Baby, What You Want Me to Do during the sit-down sessions, television audiences got a rare glimpse of what Elvis might sound like in a casual setting, just enjoying music for music's sake. The performance featured Elvis's rhythmic guitar, playing a skill rarely showcased in his public performances, as he traded licks with Scotty Moore while maintaining a steady blues groove. Elvis's vocal approach to this song was particularly notable, with his voice taking on a gravelly, lived-in quality perfect for the blues format. He seemed completely in his element, bobbing his head and occasionally smirking at the band when they hit a particularly good musical moment. The informal nature of this segment allowed Elvis to interact directly with the small studio audience, creating an electric atmosphere that translated remarkably well to television. This performance helped dispel the notion that Elvis had become merely a movie star, disconnected from his musical roots. Producer Steve Binder later commented that this unscripted session revealed the real Elvis more than any staged number could have. Though not as flashy as Jailhouse Rock or as dramatic as If I Can Dream, this rendition of Baby, What You Want Me to Do, demonstrated Elvis's innate musicality and his deep connection to American blues tradition. For viewers in 1968, seeing Elvis engaged so naturally with the music served as a powerful reminder of why he had become a cultural phenomenon in the first place. Number 10. Santa Claus is Back in Town. How did a risque Christmas song sneak into television's most famous comeback? Elvis's performance of Santa Claus is Back in Town during the 1968 special brought his trademark suggestiveness to holiday music, delivering innuendo-laden lyrics with a knowing smirk that reminded viewers of his rebellious roots. originally recorded for his 1957 Christmas album. This Leiber and Stoller composition was far from the innocent holiday fare typically aired on network television. Elvis performed the song during a segment designed to recreate his early rock and roll days, complete with upright bass and vintage staging. His delivery transformed the seemingly innocent Christmas theme into something decidedly adult, with lines about Santa coming down your chimney tonight, delivered with unmistakable suggestiveness. The television audience witnessed Elvis reclaiming his status as a boundary pusher, even within the format constraints of a holiday number. Network executives reportedly expressed concern about the performance's overt sexuality, but director Steve Binder insisted on maintaining the authentic Elvis rather than a con-pied version. Though this performance didn't make the final broadcast cut of the special, it circulated later in expanded editions, becoming a favorite among fans who appreciated seeing Elvis embrace the provocative edge that made him controversial in the 1950s. Music critics have since pointed to this performance as evidence that, despite years of tame movie roles, Elvis could still summon the dangerous sexuality that originally shocked America. The song's inclusion in the special sessions served as a reminder that Elvis's appeal had always been partly rooted in his ability to inject sexuality into seemingly innocent material. Number 9. Trying to Get to You. Can a song recorded years earlier reveal an artist's emotional state? When Elvis performed Trying to Get to You during the informal sessions of his comeback special, he transformed this early Sun Records track into a deeply personal statement about his journey back to authentic music after years of Hollywood distraction. Originally recorded in 1955, but overshadowed by his bigger hits, this song took on new meaning in 1968, as Elvis seemed to address his loyal fans directly with lines about overcoming obstacles to reconnect with someone important. Seated with his original bandmates, Elvis delivered the lyrics with an intensity that suggested he wasn't just performing. He was making a promise to his audience. His voice broke with emotion at key moments, particularly on the high notes where he pushed his vocal capabilities to their limits. The intimate setting allowed viewers to see every facial expression, every bead of sweat, as Elvis recommitted himself to the music he truly loved. Music historians have noted how Elvis's phrasing on this performance differed significantly from his original recording, showing his evolution as an interpretive vocalist. Though not as widely recognized as other songs from the special, Trying to Get to You represented a pivotal moment where Elvis reclaimed his artistic identity. The small studio audience responded with visible enthusiasm, particularly when Elvis hit the song's emotional peaks. For fans who had followed Elvis since his breakthrough, this performance carried special resonance, serving as both a nostalgic throwback and the declaration of artistic rebirth. The song's placement in the informal jam session segment allowed Elvis to showcase his natural musicality without the distraction of elaborate staging or choreography. Number 8. One Night. Remember when Elvis made censors nervous even in 1968? His performance of One Night during the comeback special revisited a song with a notorious history, as the original lyrics had been about one night of sin, far too provocative for 1950s radio. For the television special, Elvis delivered the sconide version with lyrics about one night with you, but his smoldering performance restored all the forbidden implications of the original. Clad in tight black leather, Elvis attacked the song with a vocal intensity that communicated the raw desire the censored lyrics could only suggest. The arrangement featured a driving beat from DJ Fontana's drums, emphasizing the urgent, passionate nature of the song. This performance displayed Elvis's masterful control of dynamics, building from quiet intensity to full-throated release at precisely the right moments. Though this version wasn't included in the original broadcast, it circulated later in expanded editions and became a favorite among fans who appreciated seeing Elvis embrace material with adult themes. Music critics have since pointed to this performance as evidence of Elvis's ability to convey sexuality through vocal technique and physical presence, regardless of the actual lyrics. The studio audience response was notably enthusiastic, with several female spectators visibly affected by Elvis's provocative delivery. This rendition of One Night served as a reminder that despite the family-friendly constraints of network television, Elvis could still embody the dangerous sexuality that had made him controversial a decade earlier. For viewers who only knew the Steinheided movie Elvis, this performance offered a glimpse of the artists who had once been deemed too hot for television. Number 7. Trouble Guitar Man. Did anyone expect Elvis to kick off his comeback with such a bold statement of intent? The medley of Trouble and Guitar Man that opened the special served as a perfect declaration that the real Elvis, dangerous, confident, and musically vital, had returned. The choice of Trouble was particularly significant, as Elvis had originally performed it in the 1958 film King Creole, shortly before his Army induction and subsequent career transformation. Beginning with the provocative line, "If you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place," Elvis immediately signaled that this wasn't going to be another Steinheided Hollywood performance. The aggressive arrangement featured sharp horn stabs and dramatic percussion, creating a tense musical backdrop for Elvis's confident strut across the stage. His physical performance matched the music's intensity, with Elvis moving with a predatory grace that reminded viewers of his natural stage presence. When the song transitioned into Guitar Man, the narrative shifted to emphasize Elvis's identity as a musician rather than just a celebrity. Though overshadowed in public memory by the special's closing number, If I Can Dream, this opening medley established the show's tone and purpose with remarkable efficiency. Elvis biographers have pointed to this performance as the moment when both the audience and Elvis himself realized he could still command a stage with his musical presence alone, without movie sets or elaborate production values. Director Steve Binder reportedly chose this combination specifically to reintroduce Elvis as a serious rock performer, rather than a movie personality. For television viewers in 1968, many of whom had last seen Elvis in lightweight musical comedies, the power of this opening sequence served as a startling reminder of the artist's core identity. Number 6. Blue Christmas. How did a melancholy holiday tune become a tiny moment of rock and roll rebellion? During the informal jam sessions of the comeback special, Elvis transformed Blue Christmas from a gentle seasonal lament into a showcase for his remarkable vocal control and playful stage presence. Already associated with Elvis from his 1957 Christmas album, this performance took the song in new directions as he added spontaneous vocal flourishes and interacted humorously with his bandmates. Seated in a circle with Scotty Moore and DJ Fontana, Elvis approached the song with a looseness that contrasted with his more rehearsed numbers, allowing viewers to witness his natural musicality in action. At several points, he struggled to maintain a serious demeanor, breaking into smiles when he particularly enjoyed a musical moment or audience reaction. This version featured extended vocal improvisations where Elvis demonstrated his ability to bend notes and add subtle inflections that transformed the relatively simple melody into something uniquely his own. The intimate setting allowed television audiences to appreciate the technical aspects of Elvis's singing in ways that his bigger productions often obscured. Though this performance wasn't included in the original broadcast, it became available in later expanded editions and developed a cult following among fans who appreciated this glimpse of Elvis enjoying music on his own terms. Music historians have noted how this renditions Elvis's often overlooked skill as an interpretive vocalist, able to find new dimensions in familiar material. The relaxed atmosphere of the jam session seemed to liberate Elvis from the constraints of his public image, allowing his genuine musical personality to emerge. For viewers accustomed to the carefully controlled Elvis of film soundtracks, this organic musical moment revealed the artist behind the celebrity. Number 5. Love Me. Can a song be both tender and dangerous at the same time? When Elvis performed Love Me during his comeback special, he demonstrated his unique ability to balance vulnerability and sexual confidence in a single performance. Originally a modest hit for him in 1956, the song took on new dimensions in the 1968 setting as the more mature Elvis brought additional emotional depth to lines like, "Treat me like a fool, treat me mean and cruel, but love me." Delivered during the informal jam session segment, this performance featured Elvis seated with an acoustic guitar, creating an intimate atmosphere that contrasted with the production numbers elsewhere in the special. His vocal approach highlighted his remarkable control, with Elvis shifting effortlessly between gentle crooning and more forceful passages that showcase his range. At key emotional moments, the camera caught Elvis with his eyes closed, seemingly transported by the music in a way that felt authentic rather than performative. Though not as flashy as his rock and roll numbers, or as dramatic as the special's ballads, this rendition of Love Me demonstrated Elvis's continued relevance as an interpretive singer capable of finding fresh nuances. The small studio audience responded with visible emotion, particularly female viewers who seemed captivated by Elvis's vulnerable yet masculine presence. Music critics have since noted how this performance exemplified Elvis's unique contribution to American popular music. His ability to synthesize seemingly contradictory elements, tenderness and toughness, vulnerability, and swagger into a coherent artistic statement. Though overshadowed by more famous moments from the special, this performance of Love Me provided an essential dimension to the full portrait of Elvis as an artist at this crucial career juncture. Number 4. That's All Right. What happens when an artist revisits the song that started it all? During the 1968 comeback special, Elvis's performance of That's All Right carried special significance as his first professional recording from 1954, representing the precise moment when his revolutionary career began at Sun Records. During the informal sessions, Elvis approached this Arthur Crudup composition with a combination of reverence for its place in his history and a determination to prove he could still deliver its rebellious energy at age 33. Seated with Scotty Moore, whose distinctive guitar playing had been crucial to the original recording, Elvis created a musical dialogue that honored their shared history while feeling fresh and spontaneous. Elvis's vocal technique demonstrated how he had evolved as a singer over the intervening years, bringing more control and nuance to the material while maintaining the youthful exuberance that made the original recording so revolutionary. Between verses, Elvis reminisced briefly about recording the song, giving television viewers a rare glimpse into the creation of rock and roll history. Though this performance wasn't featured prominently in the original broadcast, it circulated in subsequent releases and became treasured by fans and music historians for its connection to Elvis's artistic origins. The small studio audience responded enthusiastically, sensing the historical importance of witnessing Elvis revisit this foundational text of rock and roll with one of his original collaborators. Director Steve Binder later commented that this performance represented an important psychological breakthrough for Elvis, reconnecting him with his authentic artistic impulses after years of commercial compromises. For viewers in 1968, many of whom may not have been familiar with Elvis's earliest recordings, this performance provided crucial context for understanding his significance as a musical innovator rather than just a celebrity. Number 3. Heartbreak Hotel. How do you reinvent the song that introduced you to the world? When Elvis tackled Heartbreak Hotel during his comeback special, he wasn't just performing his first national hit. He was reclaiming his identity as a musical revolutionary. The 1968 version abandoned the echo-heavy production and deliberate pacing of the 1956 original, replacing them with a driving rhythm and more aggressive vocal approach that reflected the urgency of Elvis's career situation. Standing center stage in his iconic black leather outfit, Elvis attacked the lyrics with renewed purpose, emphasizing different phrases and adding vocal embellishments that transformed the familiar melody. The arrangement featured sharp horn accents and propulsive drumming that brought the song into the late 1960s while maintaining its essential bluesy character. Elvis's physical performance matched the musical intensity, with his body responding instinctively to the rhythm in ways that reminded viewers of his natural physicality. Though Heartbreak Hotel was already among Elvis's most famous songs, this reinvention demonstrated his ability to keep his material vital, rather than simply reproducing past glories. Music critics have noted how this performance served as a perfect metaphor for the special's larger purpose, taking familiar elements of Elvis's musical legacy and refreshing them for a new era. The studio audience enthusiastic response suggested that even those who had heard the song countless times were experiencing it in a new way. Television viewers witnessed Elvis actively engaged in the process of artistic reinvention, finding fresh energy in the cornerstone of his catalog. For younger audiences who might have viewed Elvis as a relic of an earlier era, this performance argued persuasively for his continued relevance in the rapidly evolving musical landscape of the late 1960s. Number 2. Big Boss Man. Ever seen Elvis challenge authority through song choice alone? His performance of Big Boss Man during the 1968 comeback special carried subtle but unmistakable significance, arriving at a moment when Elvis was attempting to reassert control over his career after years of management-dictated movies and soundtracks. Originally recorded by Jimmy Reed, this blues number about resisting workplace oppression took on metatextual dimensions as Elvis delivered lines like, "You got me working, boss man, working round the clock, and you ain't so big, you just tall, that's all." Performing during the informal jam sessions, Elvis approached the song with a combination of playful humor and pointed emphasis that suggested he was addressing his own situation within the entertainment industry. His vocal delivery emphasized the song's defiant attitude, with Elvis occasionally glancing knowingly at the audience during particularly relevant lyrics. The relaxed setting allowed Elvis to display his blues credentials, approaching the material with an authenticity that reminded viewers of his deep connection to African American musical traditions. Though this performance wasn't featured prominently in the original broadcast, it circulated later in expanded editions and became recognized by fans and critics as one of the special's most revealing. Elvis biographers have pointed to this song choice as evidence of his growing desire to break free from Colonel Parker's career management and the Hollywood system that had constrained his artistic expression. The small studio audience seemed to grasp the performance's subtext, responding with knowing laughter at certain lines. For viewers in 1968, this performance offered a rare glimpse of Elvis expressing dissatisfaction with aspects of his career, using music to communicate what he couldn't say directly in interviews. Number 1. It Hurts Me. Can a forgotten song reveal an artist's hidden depths? When Elvis chose to perform It Hurts Me during his comeback special, he shone a spotlight on an overlooked gem from his catalog that demonstrated his sophisticated taste and emotional range as an interpreter. Originally released as the B-side to Kissin' Cousins in 1964, the song had been largely forgotten amid the flood of movie soundtracks. Elvis's decision to revisit it for this career-defining moment suggested his personal attachment to material that offered more emotional substance than his recent film songs. Standing alone on stage in his black leather outfit, Elvis delivered the ballad with remarkable intensity, using the full range of his voice to convey the narrator's pain watching the woman he loves in an abusive relationship. His physical performance matched the emotional content, with restraint during the verses giving way to passionate release in the chorus. The arrangement featured subtle orchestration that supported rather than overwhelmed Elvis's vocal, creating space for him to explore the song's emotional nuances. Though overshadowed by better-known numbers from the special, this performance has been singled out by music critics as evidence of Elvis's underappreciated talents as an interpretive balladeer. The small studio audience responded with rapt attention, visibly moved by the emotional authenticity Elvis brought to the material. Producer Steve Binder later commented that this performance revealed a vulnerability in Elvis that contrasted with both his rebellious rock persona and his Hollywood leading man image. For viewers in 1968, many of whom associated Elvis primarily with lightweight movies, from recent years, this deep dive into his catalog offered a more complex picture of his artistry. The song's theme of witnessing someone's self-destructive choices carried poignant undertones, given Elvis's own struggles with fame and identity. Did Elvis's 1968 comeback special contain more musical treasures than we've recognized? Which overlooked performance from this landmark television event speaks most powerfully to you?